Hello, welcome to I Don't Get It, the pop culture Get Off My Lawn cast. This podcast features the hopefully, intended to be open-minded musings to very early 50s curmudgeons bravely facing down their entertainment irrelevance. I am your co-host. My name is Noah Tarnow. I am the founder and the senior quizmaster of the Big Quiz Thing, the trivia game show spectacular. I'm talking to you from San Francisco, California, and on the other side of this beautiful, beautiful continent, from sea to shining sea, up over the Purple Mountains majesty, what's the plains?
Fruited plains.
The song. The fertile plains, right?
Fruited
plains,
yes.
Right. There you go. I like This Land Is Your Land more. Anyway, is my co-host from upstate New York. Say hello.
You know, when you said across the continent, I could think about it like downwards or upwards too. I could be as far north as the Hudson Bay, or I could be as far south, perhaps as like Laredo, Texas. If you want to be like across the continent, it's not just
in the
merely
Keys, the Florida Keys.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, Texas is only halfway across the continent.
Correct, but it's like you're limiting one aspect of across the continent. You're just going east-west, not necessarily north-south.
It depends how you mean across.
Correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I see what you mean.
I'm just busting your balls.
These are important things to talk about, listeners.
Before I've even introduced myself, my name is Bill Scurry. I'm the founder and proprietor of American Caesar Enterprises, which is a tattoo parlor specializing in tribal band patterns decades after they've gone out of vogue for most, yet is still revered amongst a discreet class of unimaginative bros.
I told you my almost got a tattoo story, right?
Tell me it was something like the Green Lantern ring or something like that.
No. Okay. Well, when I was a teenager, I wanted to get the Batman symbol, which thank God I didn't. Because just the idea of having, a trademark property of one of the largest entertainment conglomerates on the earth, etched into my body permanently from pretty pathetic.
Not only that, from deltoid to deltoid all the way across your chest, though.
Well, it wasn't going to be that big.
Okay.
Anyway, I was going to, about 6 or so years ago, I've always toyed with the idea of getting a tattoo. And I was going to get a tattoo, and I designed it. I did a provisional design. I told you, I haven't talked to him in years, but I used to be friends with Dennis Caiero, the comic book artist.
Yeah.
And he was going to draw it for me. And I went to the tattoo parlor. I priced it out. I was going to do it. And I hesitated. And I said, you know what? If you're hesitating to get a tattoo,
back out.
You probably shouldn't do it. So instead, I went to Australia for a month. Mm-hmm. And I think I made the right choice.
So now that you've opened the topic, now you got to tell us what it was and where it was going to go.
Yes. It was going to be, and I don't know, if I got a tattoo now, I think it would be a little different. It was going to be a question mark breaking through a brick wall on my right arm, sort of like
midway
through
the
kind of
the wristular forearmular area,
a little lower from the wrist.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And just because I am a quiz master, so question marks have some relevance to my life's work. And I don't know. I think the question mark breaking through a wall reflects something about my philosophy of life.
That's cool.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
it's all right. I mean, if I had it, I don't think I'd be embarrassed by it now. But and look, never say never, because I always liked tattoos. I think tattoos are cool. And there's this little part of me that regrets not having one. But for me, it's like, what would the tattoo be? And I was never 100% on that. And that was the issue. I don't think here's the thing. I think I'd like a tattoo. I just don't know what it would be. So there's your problem.
The only idea I ever flirted with, and not really serious, but merely the idea of asking yourself, what kind of vanity plate would I have? But for instance,
yeah, okay.
I thought about, are you familiar with the letters SPQR?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. That is inscribed on buildings in Rome in cuneiform. And it stands.
Okay.
It's a Latin phrase for senate populusquam quod Romam, and what it meant was that these buildings were essentially the presentational province and possession of the Senate and populace of Rome. And so, if you go through all of Rome, part of the Fora Romana, the Colosseum, all that stuff like that, that's usually present on some aspect of the building. So far as I know, I think it's still on Roman manhole covers too. It's antiquarian at this point. And there's actually a book named called SPQR that was written, I guess, about 10, 12 years ago by a woman who was a historian of Rome. And it was part of the American Caesar thing, just like that kind of Romanesque flourish. And I just thought something like, you know what? I probably don't know enough about Rome to like. First of all, I would never get a tattoo, but it's like there's probably enough weird things in Rome that you wouldn't want to like just etch it under your skin. It's like, what if you found out that there was already a lot of weird things that took place in the Roman Empire. It's like, it's a long way to go to, to mark your flesh, to brand yourself with something that would, like, exactly what part of this thing did you like along the years? Was it the longevity of the empire? Was the expansion, the slavery? What did you like about it, per se?
I mean, look, I don't think if you had that tattoo, it would open you up, like that guy in Maine, he had the death's head
the totem tattoo. That's a different story, yes.
Yeah, which, frankly, I think they made him bigger. I think that guy had bigger problems. Whatever, we're well rid of him. But yeah, I don't think it would be that bad. If you had it on your skin, I think that would be kind of cool, right?
Again,
even if there is tied in with some mildly problematic things, because A, it was a zillion years ago, and B, clearly it's tied in with some good things.
I think it was about 3/4 of a zillion years ago. It's kind of what it was. You want to be specific about it.
Zillion. I didn't do the math.
Round up to the nearest half zillion.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Here we only talk about the Roman Empire. That's our topic.
What was that meme that went around a few years ago that men think about the Roman Empire every 5 minutes? Is that?
Yeah, it was some attribution.
I rarely think about the Roman Empire.
I mean, I'm not saying I never do it, but I don't do it as often as
you do it more than me.
I do it more than you. Definitely. Yeah.
So, like, they think about Rome more than they think about sex? Is that the idea?
Or, feelings, or things that are in the relationship. Who knows? This is all part of the meme.
There is that cliche that, like, men think about sex every 5 seconds. Like, how do they quantify? Like, how do they study that? What was that study like?
That's a good question, yeah. How do you...
Like, are you thinking about sex now? Are you thinking about sex now? Well, now I am. Anyway, welcome to the show. So the whole idea with this show is, as we get older, we're trying to keep up with pop culture, and we're talking. Every week we look at something that's happening right now.
Pretty much just country music is what we look at it these days. Well, we're monoculture now.
You might get that idea, yeah. Well, look, there's an argument to be made at the moment that is approaching our monoculture. So, just a couple. If you're a regular listener, just a couple weeks ago, our topic was Stella Lefty, who is a hot singer right now. She's from Chicago, and her song is called Boston, but she plays in a country style. And we talked about her, and we talked about that hit. So it might seem odd that only 2 weeks later, we are again talking about country music. We are again talking about a young, attractive chanteuse.
Garth Brooks. Oh, no, different. Sorry,
Chris Gaines.
Chris Gaines. That's what I meant, yeah.
I still don't understand. When he was on SNL, and he was so he hosted as Garth Brooks, and he was musical guest as Chris Gaines. And there was this moment where he comes out and he goes, you see Garth Brooks, he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Chris Gaines. And it cuts to the stage, and there he is dressed as Chris Gaines. I guess the intro was pre-taped.
Maybe he was like the Prestige. Maybe he like ran through a door, a Tesla coil or something like that,
Way off time. If you have no idea, look up Garth Brooks and Christopher Gaines. Chris
Gaines.
Chris Gaines. That didn't last very long. So we're talking about, I can't even remember her name.
It's all right. It's okay.
Ella Langley. Thank you. Ella Langley is a very big country singer right now. And unlike Stella Lefty, she's actually from the South. She's from Alabama. Roll Tide. And, there are some arguments to what extent Stella Lefty really plays the music that can be classified as country and Western, both genres. But I think there's really no argument that Ella Langley is not only playing the country style, but she's part of the country machine.
The orthodoxy, for sure.
As a resident, it's funny. I was just having a conversation with someone last night, and we were comparing New York and California. And I said how New York City and California are my favorite places in the United States, largely because that's where ambitious people go. Where do you go if you want to make it? Well, it depends on what you want to make it in. But I said, honestly, New York City, Silicon Valley, LA, that's it. There are other nice places. There are other places where you could do great work or do great art, but you don't go there to make it. And I forgot that Nashville.
Yes.
If you want to make it in that art form, country music, which is, you might not care, coastal people, but it is fucking massive one way or another.
Nashville's like
you fucking go to. I mean, Taylor Swift went to Nashville, right?
Nashville is like Detroit circa 1930 for cars, except for country music. It's a company town for sure.
Yeah. Well, but no one made it. No one's like, I want to be a big car guy, so I'm moving to Detroit.
Well,
he said, I'm going to Detroit because I need a job.
All the manufacturers were in Detroit. You know, that's what.
But did they go? Was there like, you know, did Biff Ford, who lived in, you know, Fayetteville, North Carolina, go, I want to create a car company, so I'm moving to Detroit? I don't think so.
No, there was his dad, Jedediah GMC, I guess. I have no idea who these features are.
But pretty much any kid these days who has country music talent and wants to make it as a country music singer and maybe has had some streaming success online, you know, if they want to make it, they plan or try to go to Nashville.
Absolutely.
And worm their way into the country industry in Nashville. And that is exactly what happened to Ella Langley. So she was born on May 3rd, 1999. Jesus, man.
She's middle-aged by now. Yeah, exactly.
I literally know where I was and what I was doing on May 3rd, 1999. I was about to quit a job, my first job out of college. So full name Elizabeth Camille Langley. Grew up, sounds like humble circumstances, a musical family. She would play piano with our grandpa. Their first song was Froggy Went A-Courtin'. Remember that song?
Yeah, I had to look it up when I was doing the research. I didn't realize not only is it a folk song, but it's like it's a Scottish folk song from hundreds of years ago.
You heard it. Anyway, she learned guitar at the age of 14. She started playing. She played in her high school. She played in her church. During COVID, she started building a streaming audience. Although in 2019, she had moved to Nashville because she's like, hey, I got talent. I want to give it a shot. And by 2021, she had wormed her way. You know, as a lot of these singers start by they join what's called these writer circles. So they team up with other writers, where those writers are also performers or just tons of people in Nashville just make their living writing music, right? And it's a fucking good job if you're doing that, because some of those people write big hits and make an insane amount of money and don't have to tour. So by 2021, she was signed by Sony. And by 2023, she played the Grand Ole Opry. She ended up being opening act for a lot of country stars who I barely heard the names, but they are legit stars. And she released her solo album, debut album in 2024. I don't know if at that point she started a writing relationship with Miranda Lambert, who I've definitely heard of. But Miranda Lambert figures into her current success. So her album, I believe, had a couple number one hits on the country charts, country singles charts. And her second album, Dandelion, came out earlier this year and debuted at number one on the Billboard 200. And that's the chart of all albums, country or otherwise. And the big hit single from it, all over the place right now, which if you've heard of Ella Langley, you've heard, is called Choosin Texas. And Choosin Texas, I don't know if at the moment it's number one, but it recently was. She became the first female artist to simultaneously top the Hot 100, so the top songs of any genre, the Hot Country songs, so country songs, and the Country Airplay charts, which they parcel it out. These are just the songs that are big on the radio as opposed to, you know, downloads or I don't know what Spotify. I know they count Spotify streams. I don't know. I think those don't count as airplay. And on the country chart, two of her other songs, I Can't Love You Anymore, which I believe is with Morgan Wallen, and Be Her, were filling out the top 2 and 3 while Choosin Texas was number one. Choosin Texas has been number one on the Hot 100 charts for something like 15 weeks, which is the stat they keep whipping out is it beats Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey for the record of the most weeks at number one by a solo female artist with a non-holiday song. All right, you follow me there, Bill?
Mm-hmm. I think I got you. I'm with you on this one.
So, you know, I'm not saying that's nothing. I haven't done that.
Left-handed pop singer with astigmatism who's currently into oat milk, right. That sort of thing.
And we'll talk about this more later, but one of the first things I heard about this was this piece of shit right-wing streamer shithead, Benny Johnson, who was he got laughed at because he misinterpreted Choosin Texas comically, and he cited that stat, but he didn't say that. He said, "Oh, so she just beat." I mean, this guy's racist, so he loves saying she just beat out Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey as the biggest singer in history. Like, okay, again, I'm not saying it's nothing. That's a big accomplishment because I'm not doing it. You're not doing it. No one I know is doing that. But let's not say she now, strides the earth like a colossus. So the song's everywhere. Choosin Texas. It is in some ways a riff on Jolene, the Dolly Parton song of, this woman is taking my man, and it's from the point of view of the aggrieved, spurned girlfriend, and her issue seems to be more with the woman than the man, which I think is crazy. Songs everywhere. This past week, you Google it, you find out that Matthew McConaughey teamed up with a bluegrass band to do a cover of it on The Tonight Show with your buddy of mine, Jimmy Fallon. There's a bunch of TikTok videos discussing it. One of the jokes on TikTok is that there are misheard lyrics. Instead of I'm drinking Jack all by myself, people hear it as I'm jacking off all by myself. Instead of Choosin Texas, they hear there's Jews in Texas.
I mean, there are. You can't argue with that.
I know several.
Brent Spiner from Star Trek Next Generation was born in
yes.
Dallas. Yeah, he was a Jew from Texas.
The Big Quiz Things sales manager is a Jew in Austin, Texas. There's another line I saw. It sounded like "cause I farted." I don't know what she really said. Anyway, that seems to be a big haha joke. The Benny Johnson thing got laughed at. He misinterpreted it as she is bringing back country American values because the song's about loving Texas.
Yeah, he wasn't the only one that made the literal
right. Actually, if I haven't been clear, the song is about she's upset. Choosin Texas means she's from Tennessee. He's if you watch the video, there's a whole story. They're back in Texas, and his eye wanders to an ex-lover in Texas. So choosing Texas means he's choosing the girl from Texas instead of me. And now I'm lonely. So, it's a well-trod country territory, but there's a lot there, So I listened to it. I listened to a couple of other songs. I read some of the discourse. There's also this element, the Ella fellas, where like there are guys who are Ella Langley fans and they're afraid to admit it because of some toxic masculinity thing or something. I don't know. Anyway, Bill, what did you think of Ella Langley, who is clearly not the same person as Stella Lefty?
Stella Langley. Lefty Langley.
Well, I will say Ella Langley does not appear to have a billionaire father.
Does not appear. The crowd seems to love it. Yeah.
Give her a few more years. You never know.
So I'm going to alight on the phenomenon of Ella's fellas here because I think that's, you've beat down the music as much as I care to ever listen to it again in the first place. So here's the thing.
I'm done.
I'm not sure why the concept of a male fan of female country artist is somehow in our Anno Domini 2026 still a novelty, or if not still a novelty at all. I mean, look, have there not already been billions in sales of albums and single sales by female country singers over recorded history at this point? I mean, did Tammy Wynette need some sort of qualifier for masculine buffs of her records? Seriously. And one of the comments...
Well, we didn't have social media in those days.
Well, but still, the idea, like one of the comments I saw... I didn't. You sent me a Rolling Stone article to kind of kick this off a bit because that's I didn't get a chance to read the article, but I did look at some social media traction that it had. It's like Shania Twain, Faith Hill. They're rich beyond belief. They got zillions, as you said, zillions of a crossover appeal based on solid basis in Nashville source country music. And in comments I saw on Facebook, somebody said, "You're telling me that there's a boomer aged country dad who doesn't know all the lyrics to God, I Feel Like a Woman." The Shania Twain song, honestly.
No, Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Man, I Feel Like a Woman, okay.
No, that's not boomer. That's...
it's older.
It's our generation because that was late 90s.
It was late 90s, but it's the dads who are in their 60s. I'm boomering up anybody who's over.
I think it's more like the country dads our age.
To get back to the music point of it, I'm kind of at a loss to come up with anything to describe Langley's music. Because I feel like I also squeezed all the toothpaste out 2 weeks ago talking about Stella Lefty. It's sort of thinking Langley's the sort of artist which, Alabama born and bred Stella Langley is supposed to eclipse Stella Langley, Ella Langley.
Ella Lefty and Stella Langley.
Ella McKay shoe challenge, the Ella McKay challenge to further make it more complex. I'm saying Langley is supposed to eclipse Stella Lefty. Stella Lefty is supposed to be that, like you said, somebody from Chicago. Someone looks like she's in a dorm room somewhere. The daughter of a billionaire. And Langley looks like someone who came through every single Mario Brothers pipe that the business has to go through. It seems like she's crawled through all that to get through Nashville. Did all the things you're supposed to do. Play Froggy Went a Courtin' with at her grandfather's knee at the piano. Plucked away the guitar to make folk songs and that sort of thing. I mean, what you want to call them bona fide roots? I put it in quotes here in my notes doc because I don't think, what is bona fide? Certainly not for me to say, but it's like apparently people who listen to country music still have this qualifier, that the things matter. I mean, look, spoiler alert, you go back to my notes from 2 weeks ago, I kind of think they both sound the same. I know that they don't. I know that they aren't. I can't perceive a difference. I just don't have a sensory organ that is going to have enough patience and time to understand it. It was more the idea of the fact that the male fan thing, especially since there's so much traction on TikTok and Insta, where middle-aged wraparound Oakley dudes are wearing Ella shirts as they're dancing and lip syncing to the songs in their
car. Why is every video shot in people's cars?
I don't know. Because it really does. It belies the fact or belabors the fact that America lives in their cars. It's really this ridiculous thing. Yeah, look, if it was in Holland somewhere, they'd be in their windmills. What do you want me to say? I don't know. But what did you make of the phenomenon? Not that you haven't already told us.
Well, I think I have a little more appreciation of country music than you. Well, not me. It's fair to say. I like old country. I'm Johnny Cash is really the only country artist I consider myself a fan of. But I appreciate a lot of people. And I think this is a lovely song. I think it's got very nice steel guitar in it. And she plays it. She's clearly talented.
I didn't realize she plucks the steel guitar.
She does.
That's the thing. It's
co-written with her and Miranda Lambert and some other.
I think that the sound of a steel guitar is such a kind of like, I know it's a country cliche, but there's still something about the fact that the steel guitar appears either in luau music in Hawaii or country music. It's a very strange endemic American instrument.
I mean, you say a little cliche, but cliche sort of not only has a place in popular music, but is required.
Kind of. Yeah.
I mean, look, so I love rock and roll. I love punk rock, and punk rock is 90% cliches. But the idea for me is do you use the cliches right and in an exciting, heartfelt way? And I think this song really works. Her voice sounds a little processed, but it is real enough. The song has a very catchy melody. The lyrics are very heartfelt. They come across as honest, which is, I think, the number one job of pop music. Is, you could be singing la la la, I love him, my heart is so happy, blah, blah, blah. The same shit you've heard a billion times, but if I believe you, it works, right? And I believe her, right? The song has several shout outs to some classic country artists and songs that I'm not familiar with other than hearing their names. Amarillo by Morning by George Strait, who's actually a Texas artist. Eastbound and Down by Jerry Reed.
Jerry Reed, yeah, wow.
And Smoky Mountain Rain by Ronnie Millsap. The only thing I remember about Ronnie Millsap is he was blind, right?
I'll take your word for it.
Okay. Anyway, so I think the song works. I get why it's a hit. It's lovely. It's fine. She's not reinventing the wheel, but that's not the point. The video, like I said, it sort of tells the story. I think the video really sucks. I think she comes across as very flat and not magnetic in the video, and you see none of the emotion of the song brought to life.
It's stock. It's a stock
in
presentation.
The quote unquote story. However, another one of her hit songs, "Be Her." I like that song more. It's about jealousy. She's just, I want to be her. She's perfect. This, that, I want to be her. That's an awesome video. Watch that video. I thought that video was spectacular. I thought it was very creative, very well done in a kind of simplistic way, and she comes across as a real star. I really enjoyed that video. So I recommend watching the video for Be Her. The discourse about the song is fucking stupid. The Ella fellas, give me a break. Who cares, right? This is part of the slide we're going down of, we have leaders who think men should be about, tested for testosterone. This is just garbage. Liking a woman singer in no way makes you less masculine. It is irrelevant to your masculinity 100%. I first saw people, the misheard lyrics, and I'm a fan of joking about misheard lyrics, but it's the same things. Pretty much everything I read about the misheard lyrics was about she's drinking Jack all by herself, and there's Jews in Texas. And I saw the one thing about I farted. So again, this is what the internet does. There's one joke, and it just gets repeated, the same joke 5,000 times, and it's branded a phenomenon. I mean, if there were a lot of misheard lyrics, I get it. But otherwise, it's silly. And again, it's the hyperbole. There was the articles about Matthew McConaughey singing it are like, oh my God, he broke the internet. And Ella Langley replied, and she said, I don't think I'll ever recover from this.
Do you remember that she changed the course of country history? Did you know that?
There was that article I sent you. It's unbelievable.
In case you were wondering how and why the course of country music changed, refer back to that article because it'll tell you exactly what you need to know.
This article is in Lifestyle magazine. The headline says, The Beautiful Terrifying Shift, How Ella Langley's Choosin Texas Dethroned Pop Royalty and Rewrote Billboard History. This was published 4 days ago by Joel Jack. This article is insane. He is basically equating Ella Langley to Jonas Salk and Genghis Khan. I am barely exaggerating to the level this guy is talking about Ella Langley's effect on human civilization. It ends with this. Ella Langley just didn't break a Billboard record. She redefined what a modern country hit looks like on the global stage, two-stepping her way straight into the history books. Give me a fucking break. It's a pop song. The last thing I want to say is, we haven't brought this up. Ella Langley is open that she is a devout Christian. I've seen clips on her on stage talking about her love for God. And this is all because of God. She's so little pushy with it, but I'll let it go because the things she's saying are things that I can't argue with. Forgive the things about the Christian God that I think are great and that I think too many quote-unquote modern Christians don't seem to care about. She did play a MAGA festival headlined by Kid Rock. But, hand in hand with the God thing, she has been open about her psychological struggles. She has claimed she has imposter syndrome. So, to the extent I understand Christianity, it is about forgiveness and being humble. So the fact that she's not afraid to be humble, I think, flies in the face of a lot of toxic Christianity these days. So I appreciate that.
I'm officially Ella's fella. Shout out to Ella. She sent it to me personally with a note that was like, thanks for making me famous. You're welcome. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, term it for our audience. Why is this popular?
Well, I said it. It's catchy. It's a catchy song. It's got all the ingredients. It's well written. It's well performed. But yeah, I think a lot of it's the hyperbole. It's just, that this is what our hype machine does today. I mean, again, at least this is, I say, a good song and someone who apparently has, some degree of talent, maybe a lot of talent. I can't really tell if she's just okay or she's, really will for the next few decades be a big star. I guess it's possible. I'm seeing evidence. I'm not seeing proof of that. But this is what our media does. They take a kernel of something and they blow it up into she's changing the world, into TikTok. All they're talking about is misheard lyrics, and it's two silly lines. Who cares, I mean, were these articles about more than a feeling when I thought it was she's cold and unfeeling? No, right? This is what our machine does. It takes a kernel of something and it basically claims that the world is changing permanently forever and, we will never be the same again. And, that leads people to jump on a bandwagon. And I just think it takes people in all sorts of illogical and sometimes toxic directions.
Mm-hmm. Oh, she certainly had some juice going before the new album. That was apparent. And Choosin Texas, I guess, could be considered a crossover hit. I've heard that it actually does very well in Europe. In one of the articles, I can't remember what it was.
Yes, it has.
This is strange. Look, I'm not saying that I didn't hear on car stereos American country music being played in Europe when I was there for 7 years. I should say Holland, which has an extremely, a capacitous appetite for American and English language culture, that sort of thing. But it's strange to know that there is this, there's a market out there for people who buy this stuff. The geographic call out of Texas, like you say, the propensity of some like low IQ fans or literalist fans to use the single as a team descriptor in an ongoing culture war. I mean, now that's at its most pernicious. It's that, but it's like you can say you throw Texas in there, all of a sudden you get sort of like the big foam finger in the air. Texas, woohoo, hook 'em horns or whatever the fuck that shit is.
Yeah. I mean, smart to put Texas in the title. Yeah. That probably gave her a bit of a boost.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, that's why it's like McConaughey for the last 6 or 7 years has been, Matthew Texas McConaughey. He really has like tried to.
He's from Texas, right?
Yeah, he's from Austin. That's where he's from, or something. And so, Linklater, these guys are trying to like make sure that they're branded with Texas, so at least there's some pushback on the Texas that they, the Dallas, Larry Hagman, J.R. Ewing Texas that still kind of like obscures everything else. So it's like all that stuff has kind of cemented Langley's phenomenon, and like you mentioned the video, I was watching the story video for the song, as we want to think about it. It employs, and you may not have picked this up, there are some TV/movie actors like Luke Grimes, who
really? I didn't recognize anyone in it.
No, I don't especially too. But the guy who was the lead dude is a Yellowstone guy, and if he doesn't play Costner's kid, I think he plays one of the ranch hands. He's sort of a very.
I forgot Yellowstone 30 seconds after we finished our episode.
He's a blandly beautiful bro who looks good in a cowboy hat and a pair of shit kicker boots. And the girl who was the ex-girlfriend is actually Ava Philippi, who is Reese Witherspoon's daughter. That's who was the woman, the ex-girlfriend in the video. Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon has a daughter that old?
Yeah, she had a kid when she was 23. Her and Ryan Philippi had a kid. She got pregnant young. She had a couple. I think she's got three kids. And Ava Philippi is almost like a genetic clone of Reese Witherspoon.
How old is Ava Philippi? All right,
Ava Philippi, I want to say she's 25, 26 or something like that. Yeah.
Reese Witherspoon is almost our age.
She's exactly our age. She was born in 75. She's exactly our age.
76.
Okay, get the point though. She's right there.
I thought she was a lot younger.
Yeah, well that's their thing.
Look, she was in all those movies. She was in
She's got a
Tracy Flick and
she's got a very girlish, cultish thing.
Legally Blonde was 2000.
I know, man. It's a long time ago. Damn. So he gets some pretty TV actors, movie actors. They're habitués in the bar. The drama plays out very literally. Grimes, handsome Texan, gravitates back to his ex and humiliates the protagonist of the song, which, like you said, puts it in Dolly territory, and it's that nice underdog or underdogus. Whatever the female equivalent of an underdog would be.
There's a word we could use.
Yeah, it's true. We're not going to use that. Also, hey, Noah, hear me out here. I'm not trying to twist your arm behind your back. Maybe she's just super cute in a Nashville Instagram kind of way.
Ella's fellas, if you know, you know. She sent this to me. Apparently there's an entire army of dudes out there that I'm trying to represent who are proud Ella Langley fans, and I've officially enlisted.
Bill, how much would you have hated this if you were a kid?
We're going to go off format this time. No, here's the thing with country music, fembots especially, and me, right? The relationship between the two things is kind of, no matter how pulchritudinous they are, whether it is a Miranda Lambert, who at this point, I mean, she's not a kid phenom. Miranda Lambert's in her 40s. She's crossing over to middle age. But it's like there was no shortage of really gorgeous country singers in the 90s who were, I mean, Faith Hill presented very...
Faith Hill was hot. Shania Twain was beautiful.
Yeah, Faith Hill was always like love of Jesus, and like she looked like a girl you'd see at the Crystal Cathedral. Like I think she was supposed to be a little bit sexless, mostly looked like a really put together kind of suburban mom. She was definitely foxy. But the thing is, it's like the idea of using beauty, whether it's... a grotty looking dude who sells that scuzzy, what was it? The Maroon 5 guy. Adam Levine is covered in tattoos. He looks like sleaze, and that was supposed to like sell him as like, oh, he's the bad boy. He's like one of these Johnny Depp scuzz bucket dudes. But it's like, oh, I bet you he smells like cologne and cigarettes and is a scamp, And it's like, the women using this kind of thing, it's like, for purely superficial reasons, it doesn't help country singers jump the rails for me into becoming a phenomenon. Especially the artifice of Nashville grooming in particular for women. I mean, men, it's one thing. Women, it renders them all like a big, flat, indistinguishable crowd of fringe leather jackets, fry boots, and hair extensions. Really, really long hair extensions. They look like somebody in the MAGA orbit. I mean, not trying to tar anybody, but it's like there's a look to that. That look is always the same, very tanned Nashville look. But the music just cannot achieve escape velocity to get away from the dying star's gravitational pull in this case. But what about you?
I mean, there's no way I would like this. I had no capacity for country music when I was a kid. I mean, we talk about Shania Twain and Faith Hill, but I don't know. I barely knew those women existed. I mean, I guess Faith Hill was Still the One I Love, right? That was her song?
That was Shania.
That was Shania?
Yeah, that was Shania.
I know Shania was Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
She was a monster. She was a machine, yeah.
So what was Faith Hill's song?
Something that was like that. That's what I'm saying. It
Probably
was
had 1,000 songs.
It was
because I knew who she was, and I knew that she was gorgeous.
And
that world was. I mean, Garth Brooks. I can't even remember his fucking.
It was
songs.
the
Thunder Roll, something like that.
I was going to say, but Faith Hill is our world wallpaper. Honestly, it is like yellow, tan, beige wallpaper. It's just,
yes, but honestly, let's step back. Like, Faith Hill fans probably thought that about all the music we were into in the 90s. And
so they were buying
I'm
our
not
music
saying
too,
they were
though.
necessarily more wrong than we are.
You know, they bought Green Day just as we didn't buy Faith Hill albums, but they bought Green Day albums.
Some of them. Look, I have a lot to criticize in modern Southern culture. And I have a lot to criticize in the modern country music machine. But country music, real country music, and I'll do Ella Langley. I got no argument with that. It's even if it's not my thing, I can't say it's bad. I can't say it's terrible. But when I was a kid, I've talked about this 1,000 times. I was a rock snob. I was less appreciative of things that didn't immediately, stir my soul.
About 7 a.m. with my coffee in hand. It's foggy as shit out here in Austin, Texas. And all that's going through my head is Choosin Texas, I can tell. Oh. I guess I truly am an Ella fella.
All right, Noah, is this a sign of the apocalypse?
No, not the music. Maybe the opposite, because again, like, it's an actual song and it's got artistry behind it, and I don't think it's earth-shattering, but I think it's worthy of being a pop hit. Why not? But this exaggeration, this hyperbole, I've had it. I mean, this is why we all hate each other, because everything is a life or death situation. And I know it seems silly to equate, if you don't agree with me on this political issue, you're an evil communist or you're an evil fascist, which is everyone to their corner, no compromise, no listening, no conversation, is a real problem. And I know it might seem exaggeration on my part to equate, Ella Langley is the biggest star in the history of pop music to that, but I do think there's a through line there. So, this idea that everything is the biggest thing ever, I mean, we're only a couple steps from, if you don't like Ella Langley, then you live in a different world than me, and I can't relate to you, and I want nothing to do with you, and therefore you're wrong and I'm right, and I belong in America and you don't. I know that sounds silly, but I honestly believe there's a through line there. And if you watch that Benny Johnson video, you see it clearly, because he literally says, there's another, I didn't see this in the video, but elsewhere he talked about Ella Langley, and he said the fact that country music is at the top of the charts proves, he says something like this is terrible, proves that hip-hop is dead and American culture is back.
Don't let him get to you. Don't let him get to you.
Why'd you have to go to the racial place? And second of all, hip-hop is not American culture? What fucking universe are you in? So that is a problem.
Well, I think that this is nature healing, Noah, as people like to say. I hate that expression. Talk about hyperbole. I'm breaking my silence on this. There's a crowd.
You're taking the internet by storm and breaking your silence.
We're kind of like, we keep bumping on this shit, whether is when we talked about whatever various country topics we have talked about. Again, it hasn't been that many, but there is currently and has been for a while a crowd of solo female roots country acts who kind of all look like gorgeous short women from Abilene or wherever. It's just how the business works, It's not new technology at all. It's merely like when Howard Hughes decided to like sand the rivets off of his plane to just get a couple more seconds of speed out of it, that kind of thing. It just keeps perfecting the same design without reinventing it every single time. Again, that's just how Nashville works. I would also argue
that's how pop music works.
Kind of. I mean, every now and then, a guy like the Australian dude, Tame Impala breaks through, and it's like fucking Tame Impala songs don't sound like anything else.
I've never heard of this person. What's their name?
Tame Impala. He's an Australian dude.
Oh, Tame Impala.
Yeah.
I thought they were a band.
Though they are, but it's actually a guy. I'm just saying, it's like he's closer to David Byrne than anything else, and it's like I don't love.
I've heard of him. I don't
love Tame Impala's music, but it's like it's fucking pop music and it's catchy, and they play him, and it doesn't sound like anything else. It's really this isn't the Tame Impala cast, but I'm saying it's like country isn't really primed to have a Tame Impala. Pop music is always going to be closer to a Tame Impala per se than country would be.
I think you might be right. I'm wary of our bias.
Yeah, that's true. It's fine.
Because we don't see the intricacies of the country.
But look, I just want to square the circle on my comments here, because I may be calling out a female artist and saying it's like, they're all kind of a product line. It's like the BMWs. Do you want the 300, the 600, the 1200, etc.? The thing is, the guys look the same too. They're all Morgan Wallen. They all have the same look. It's either a t-shirt with blue jeans that bell bottom out to fucking fry boots. The same. They all wear the same fucking
the hat, the beard.
It's a Ella fella shirt. Oh, I knew it. I'm gonna wear that out tonight. Thanks, Ains. I'm jealous. Are you jealous?
Very
I
jealous.
know. How good is this?
Bill, are you jealous of the Ella Langley phenomenon? Are you jealous of the Ella fellas?
Ella fellas. Well, Noah, if it's to be believed, a lot of the Instas and TikToks claim that some dudes were comped shirts and merch by Langley herself. I know you didn't see this part of the Ella's Fellas phenomenon, but it was something that came across to me. They attested to fandom in public with short testimonials, bits and pieces, call outs, shout outs, that sort of thing. And apparently the Langley team, the Langley machine, the combine, the thresher, has wisely worked this narrative into her phenomenon by coming up with the Ella Fellas brand, or at least kind of like, putting the bellows next to the furnace and letting it breathe, and so the fire gets stoked. So these guys are out there being very proud of it and saying that she clapped back at them and she did a little fire, the love heart or the fire thing next to their comments. Whoever's running her social media is pretty smart in this case. Now, I wish there had been a way back in the day to have gotten some swag from Donald Fagen himself. Perhaps under the aegis of Dan's fans or some other catchy.
You could have been a Steely Man.
Steely Man. See, that's what I'm saying. We'll get some.
As if the typical Steely Dan fan was a woman.
What we're going to do is we're going to get some younger writer in here to punch this material up. But that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Anyway, so what about you?
Yeah, there's not much to be jealous of. Part of me wishes I liked country music more. Because I hear about, it's easy to dismiss how cheesy it is and the surface stuff. And we hear dumb fucking songs like America, Red, White, and Blue, these morons. But clearly there's a creative world of country music in Nashville. And the music fan of me wishes I had I heard the difference between all these names I've heard.
I'm sure that some country music artists wish that too. Honestly, they're under the same yoke as the listeners too.
There are nuances that I'm just not picking up on, and it's not like I should sit down and figure it out.
I'm sure some people
see the value in that, and also you should like what you like.
I think some people wish there was a reformation there too. I have no doubt that country artists wish there was more room for them as well.
Yeah, but some of my impression is that a lot of these very successful people are very talented. Most of them haven't broken through to the Ella Langley level and number ones on the general pop charts, but they're doing fine. They fill rooms all over the country, by the way, because there are serious country fans in every city.
Yeah.
I remember the time walking by the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York, and there was a massive crowd, and they were going to see some bands. The names on the tip of my tongue, I vaguely heard of them. And I was impressed that this act that had no profile beyond country music, could fill Hammerstein Ballroom in New York. And I'm like, you know what? I guess I shouldn't be surprised, because New York area is big. There are country fans everywhere. And why wouldn't they come here? Right?
There's a lot of F-150 pickups in Jersey, Connecticut, Long Island, believe me.
Exactly. So, I have no doubt a lot of these people are very talented and create good pop music, popular music, and deserve that success. And I guess it's a whole world that I could get some value of if I engage with. I'm not sure how much, but some. Look, I've always wished I had broader tastes in music. I like what I like, but I've never gotten into hardly anything that isn't described as rock. Has never stirred me. I can appreciate it on an artistic level. I wish you're the kind of person who I like all kinds of music. You know, I'm just not that person. I don't dislike most kinds of hardly any kinds of music I actively dislike. But, you know, I don't care about most of it. It would be fun to care.
You know, we like the kind of person that you actually are, though. So what about the
Thank you, Bill.
The Felonian scale? Our XYZ axis based on Jimmy Fallon is the nadir of all popular culture.
I mean, here we are. You know, half a Stella Lefty plus 3/4 of Morgan Wallen times, you ready for this? 1/8 of Jimothy, who we just talked about last week, because of the hyperbole. Because this freaking raccoon,
diseased mutant fish otter, yeah.
Right, has taken the internet by storm and is the biggest star and is, you know, there's Jimothy Day and all that. The hyperbole is driving us nuts. So half a Stella Lefty plus 3/4 of Morgan Wallen times 1/8 of Jimothy minus 32.184. That is the equation that leads you to Ella Langley.
I have a simple equation, which I'll just preface by saying, like, it's as good as she is, again, not up to my taste necessarily, it's still kind of just country music technology working as well as the machine could spit it out. She's not reinventing the wheel, like I said. She's not blasting through barriers the way former topic Lil Nas X did with Old Town Road. Again, I'm not arguing for the quality of the song because I wasn't a fan of it, but we have to argue what it did, how it was a sensation based on something that was really non-orthogonal for country. And it was controversial inside the country aegis as well. The sensation I'm saying. So, Noah, that brings me to the very simple equation of this is Serena Williams minus Arthur Knight.
Arthur Knight.
Arthur Knight.
That was that guy pretending to be someone else?
Yeah, dude, it's funny. Didn't you? Yeah, you sent me the
that.
article, I think it was a month or two ago, where he actually died in prison.
He died.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, what was that? I don't even remember that it was about. He was pretending to be a character.
Well, he was pretending. Like,
wasn't clear if he was a character.
He was a rapist and a masher, and he sort of fled, and he went to England. Or no, he claimed he was from England. He was putting on a shitty English accent, like he was the butler in Noises Off or something like that. And it's like the people were trying to say, you're that guy. It's like, you're escaping. He's like, no, I'm not that guy. I'm a different guy. But he had the whole thing with the oxygen mask, and he was confined to a wheelchair. And apparently he let himself die in whatever custodial prison he was in. He refused medical attention and actually did expire about a month or so ago. I mean, this is bringing it down, but I'm just saying it's a very strange postscript to this topic.
This is, okay. Who cares? All right. So Ella Langley... She's okay. She's not the end of the world. There you have it.
Well,
thanks for listening, folks.
Thanks for listening.
Wrap
exactly. And as always, find past episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Soundcloud, Google Play, and Nashville. Blue Sky us at noahandbillshow.bsky.social. Write to us, noahandbilldon'tgetit@gmail.com. Let's kibitz about country music because there's no one more you want to argue about this shit with. Give us a review. We love them. We absolutely love them. At billscurry.bsky.social, at William Scurry on all the other socials, youtube.com/amcaesar. And now Noah will continue the plug train.
Learn all about what I do at bigquizthing.com. The Big Quiz Thing, America's premier provider of corporate and private live trivia team building events nationwide, worldwide. We have a public event coming up in San Francisco, September 30th at Ground Floor in the Mission. Details on that soon. And I'm personally on Instagram at the Noah Tarnow.
All right, everybody. So to the next episode where we talk about topping the country charts with our own new hit called Choosin' the Federated States of Micronesia. We don't get it.
A production of American Caesar Enterprises 2026.